Hello and welcome to our candidate forum. Hello.
Hello.
I am not able to see you. Okay, there you go. That's good. So I want to welcome you to our candidate forum of 2025. And you are not new to this. You've been here for a while. So welcome back. And I'm just going to ask you some questions because you already have some experience. I had prepared for candidates who don't have experience. So, what has your experience been over the last term, Aaron, regarding your ward and the rest of Edmonton?
Yeah, I can tell you it's been an extremely challenging 4 years. It's been a lot different than the first 4 years. We were coming out of COVID. We've had economic pressures. We've had provincial cuts. All municipalities have across Alberta. And it's been a really, really fascinating time trying to manage taxes, keep them as low as possible, but also build a city that people can be proud of. And so it has been extremely challenging, but I think that we've made some really good progress. And so I think that people in Ward Dene can see the results of that. They see that the community is growing and thriving and that things are getting better year after year. So, it's been tough, but there's silver linings for sure.
Can you place your finger on some of those things are getting better?
Yeah, absolutely. So one of the things that people in Ward Dene will notice is that we're starting to get the road widenings and infrastructure that we wanted. We're starting to see neighborhood renewals, and we've gotten massive amounts of funding, for example, in Belvedere community, so they could get a new park, and there's been some other new parks and things like that. And we also, in our ward, got the largest public park in the city in the Northeast. It's called the Northeast Park right now, but the people are going to name it, and that engagement is happening right now. And
Wow.
yeah, there's so much. I probably can't answer it all within 30 seconds.
Okay. So the biggest problem that people see in the Northeast is that there's a lot of crime and
Yes.
petty crime rather. So I just want to know what are the kind of things that have been done over the last term to ensure safety, public safety?
That's such a good question, and it's something that's on my mind all the time. And obviously, some of the roots of that are that people have been desperate. It's been tough economic times, and desperate people do desperate things, unfortunately. And we've had increases of addiction and mental health issues that have gone unaddressed because those are healthcare issues that the city actually we're not allowed to address. It's in the provincial realm, and they ask us to stay separate from it. So what we have done that we can do is we've increased the police budget. We've actually set a budget formula so that the police will always get a specific percentage of budget every year. We don't have to debate it. We don't have to worry about it. And they say that it's exactly what they need in order to address the concerns that people have. The other thing we did is we increased the number of peace officers we have, which are kind of like a quasi police force, but they don't have the same authorities as EPS, but they can intervene, they can write tickets and things like that. And we increased that number. And this fall, we're going to make a motion to increase it even further. So we are addressing it that way. And those folks are paired with what we call our COT teams, which are basically community outreach teams. So if it's someone in distress or mental health or addictions, they compassionately intervene with the peace officers present and help them find the help they need in that moment. So it's a very multi-pronged approach. And of course, we're having community meetings and building community safety plans. And EPS has actually, we're starting to get a much better relationship, a better working relationship, and they're committed to having more neighborhood police patrolling in neighborhoods so that people get to know who their local police officers are, and they get to know that people are actually watching out for them.
Oh, nice. Thank you.
Yeah.
So the other question is, I've seen a lot of homelessness. So is there some move towards more low-income housing for people who are mentally challenged or people who are on different addictions?
Yeah. Yeah, absolutely. In fact, so housing is a provincial responsibility and a federal responsibility. And the role of the city is to accommodate that, to make it happen, to help find land for them and things like that. So that's what we do. And then we've also worked with EPS, or sorry, not EPS, we've worked with the province in order to facilitate builds and we worked with the federal government to get the funding in. And then we also work with housing providers and service operators to create that housing. And so more and more is coming on board because people, frankly, just need that affordable, supportive housing that takes them off the street and gets them the help they need. And so we're doing that more and more. And then if people are off the street, then they're not doing desperate things. They're not in your neighborhood. And that safety for you and the safety for them increases. In fact, there's one other component that we have. Edmonton actually has a spin-off corporation that people might not know about. It's called Home Ed. And what Home Ed
Hmm.
is, they offer below market housing. And I think it used to be called Edmonton Housing. And
Mhm.
so, yeah, that's also something the portfolio keeps expanding every year. And uh, they're owned by Edmonton, but they are net zero, which means like for costs, that means that they bring in just the right amount that they need to operate and don't make a profit. And anything extra they have goes into creating more affordable housing.
Wow, good to know.
Yeah.
The other question I have for you is what Dene has a high proportion of young families and newcomers? Because Edmonton is just blowing out of proportion. So
Yeah.
we all have to make sure that, and that's the reason why the city had done this infill. I'm just wondering about, accommodating these new people and making it welcoming to them.
Yeah, that's exactly it. Welcoming is very important. That's where community leagues come in and establish community as well. In our ward, we happen to have a wide variety of people from all sorts of places in the world with different cultural and ethnic backgrounds, and it's actually really exciting because you get to see so many different people. I'll tell you a quick story. When I was young, my family lived in affordable housing. My parents were very poor. They were young students, and my mom went around, knocked on doors, and said, "Hey, you know," and this is before you had Costco or Superstore. What if we pool our money and we go to wholesalers and get our groceries? And so everyone said, "Yeah, let's give that a try," and it worked. And because we had people from all around the world, they said, "We cook with different ingredients. Can we get these?" And lo and behold, they were able to get them. And my mom said, "Well, what do you do with that?" And so every week we had a community kitchen where we lived,
Wow.
and people would share their recipes from around the world, and the entire neighborhood would be filled with these beautiful smells, and the community would gather and laugh and eat together. And my job as a kid was go and knock on doors to get the seniors out and people with disabilities. And we were able to all get to know each other, and we did that through food. And I think that that spirit of connection is really important in our ward. And I think that people are doing it. And when we fund community leagues, we fund that. We just had a big event in Cybecker. We had people from everywhere all out, and everyone was having a really great time.
Nice to know. Um, how will you ensure that the residents are informed about any changes that happen, in the council when you make decisions? How do you keep them updated?
That's a really good question. Now, it used to be that the city had a far more robust engagement process. COVID, that got cut a little bit. And recently, council's been making moves and motions to bring that back. In fact, today, I just got a motion passed that will have administration look at how they do this much better on social media, because that's where most people are getting their news nowadays.
True.
And so that just got passed today. And what I've begun doing, and people might have noticed this, is I'm doing more and more video because that's what people are paying attention to. I used to do lots of blogs, but I noticed that readership is dropping. So I'm doing these short videos to explain things to people so they know what's going to come up in their community and how they can get involved.
One of the things that most counselors face is like difference of opinion. So when you bring up a topic, do you feel that there's a lot of opposition, and how do you deal with that when you're a counselor?
Oh, that's such a great question. Yes. Sometimes counselors butt heads, and it's because everyone's so passionate about what they're doing, right? It would be kind of strange if everyone agreed all the time. Then you'd be like, uh-oh, are we doing something wrong? We should have some debate here. So when I encounter that, I usually tend to prepare in advance. I will tell other counselors what I'm thinking about if it's going to be a big issue, and just talk to them and ask them what they're working on and what they might be thinking has to happen. And so I try to collaborate in advance so that when we have the debate, it's a healthy debate and it's a good debate. And though we disagree strongly, We can still be agreeable with each other. Says once in a while tempers flare, and I think that's normal. That's human, and you want your counselors to be human beings. You don't want them to be robots. But
That's true.
what might surprise people is that behind the scenes, people make up. They find common ground again and get along because that's what's in the best interest of the public. And so that's generally how we do it.
Wow, that's really nice to know. I mean, it's a lot of preparation, but that's great.
Yeah.
Um, so, over the last term, what are the specific things that have been done, especially for economic development within Ward Dene?
Yeah, that's a good question. One of the things that I was really focused on was how do we bring investment in? And so people will notice that, I've been working with developers, which a lot of people think, oh, developers are the bad guys, but they're the ones who build everything. And so I've
Hmm.
been working with them, and you'll notice that we have way more amenities in the neighborhoods. We've got more commercial activity, so we've got more options for people for shopping and eating and all sorts of things. And so that's the one side. The other side is the industrial development.
Hmm.
In this term, we took a concept of hydrogen, making Edmonton a hydrogen hub for Western Canada, and we
Wow.
got a $1.6 billion investment in our ward from a company called Air Products, and we got money from the provincial government, from the federal government, and obviously the company put their money in, and so that represented a huge number of jobs in construction and jobs that are ongoing, and it created a hub that is only growing now of other services that feed into that system. So that's where my focus is like, how do we get more opportunities for the public for their shopping needs and entertainment needs, and how do we get more opportunities as far as industrial and big commercial so that we have lots of these jobs and investment in our city.
That is a beautiful thing. I didn't even know about this hydrogen project. So, will that be creating a lot of jobs for the people in that area?
Well, yeah, we're talking about hundreds of jobs, and that's just one example. So I also have a plan that I've been working with administration on, and the pieces are there. And I'm going to be talking about it more even tomorrow morning on. I don't know if you've heard of Real Talk with Ryan Jesperson.
Not yet.
Oh, okay. Oh, actually, on Thursday morning. On Thursday, I'm going to be talking
Okay.
and unveiling this plan about how we like supercharge this economic development so we get an enormous amount of jobs, not just in the ward, but across the entire city very, very rapidly, because that's the number one concern. I don't know if you know this, but 15% of youth in Edmonton do not have employment, and that's got to change. And if I can follow through with my plan and I get the support from other counselors, it's going to change. I already have support policy-wise with administration, so it's just a matter of making sure that it happens.
Yeah, unemployment is one of the biggest causes of all these problems that we have talked about.
Yes.
Um, so, is there any negative outcomes of having a hydrogen plant in the Northeast?
Of having, sorry,
A
I missed.
hydrogen plant.
Oh, the hydrogen plant. No, actually, hydrogen is very clean and it's very safe, and they don't hold it concentrated in ways that would ever pose a danger. And so this is sort of a gateway technology that takes us from oil and gas, which we need right now, and it's sort of this bridge to future technologies. And so it uses oil and gas, but when hydrogen burns, what you get out of it is water and oxygen. Like you get water, you get oxygen and hydrogen, and that's it. Yeah.
Okay. All
Yeah.
right. Nice to know. And is there any other places in the world where this technology has been tried and you have seen how it works?
Yeah, so it's already being tried in many places around the world, especially in Japan.
Mhm.
And one of the uses that we have here is that a small percentage of the gas that goes into your home is not just natural gas in certain areas, it will also be hydrogen. And they've tested that out, especially in Fort Saskatchewan, and it works really, really well. It's actually perfect. And so it decreases the amount of fossil fuels we're burning and increases the amount of that hydrogen, which is essentially waste free. The waste product of hydrogen is water.
Nice. Good. Wow. So, what you're telling me is this is a very benign product. It doesn't have any negative health impacts on the people.
That's right. Now, there's two ways of doing hydrogen. We're going on to the science of it, but you've got green hydrogen and blue hydrogen. Green hydrogen is hydrogen that is naturally occurring or is through different forms of electrolysis and things like that. Blue hydrogen, which is what we've got, also utilizes some oil and gas. So there is like still some oil and gas usage, but it's very, very much reduced compared to the energy output you get. So we get a decrease in those waste products.
Wow. All right. What are the kind of things that you're planning for the next term for your ward?
Okay. So for the ward, we've got a number of different projects coming up. We're going to be repaving Victoria Trail. We're going to be working on widening 153rd Avenue. I'm working on a plan right now that would not just repair all of 50th Street, but also widen 50th Street. And I want to start that plan moving in the next term. We're going to finish the widening of 167th Street. And then we've got a number of neighborhood renewals that are coming. So some of our neighborhoods are a little bit older and the roads are getting a little rough and they need some TLC. And so we'll be bringing in that investment for the communities as well. On top of that, again, just working on more of that commercial opportunity, so big shopping and small shopping. And I've also got a plan for more of that industrial development that I was talking about that will actually allow us to have more employment in the city. And every time we get more industrial, the average tax rate for everyone else goes down a little bit because they are such a big component of the tax base that the more industrial and non-residential we can get in the city reduces our tax rate.
You touched a topic which I was going to next.
Oh,
the property
okay.
taxes in the city are just so high, and some people just find it so difficult, especially with the employment situation right now.
Oh,
So,
absolutely.
how are we going to address this to make it more livable?
So, it's funny that you asked that question because in the last term, people might remember that I led the charge on the fight to get taxes to 0%. And we didn't get it in 2020, which is what I was hoping for. We got to 1.3%, which is pretty good. And then the next year we were at 0%. And then the next year after that, we were 1.90, then 1.3. So very, very low in the last term and the first year of this term. But then the impacts of that economic turmoil that we've all experienced and the provincial cuts and everything across the province and across Canada, you saw municipal tax rates rise. And we tried to keep it as low as possible, but it's still high. People are still paying because everything went up, inflation, and that's hard for people. And so what I'm going to do in the next term, and this is part of what I was talking to you about, this economic plan I have that I'll be unveiling on Thursday. I have a plan that will not just, a lot of people think, oh, I'm going to be tough on the budget. We're going to cut, all the programs we don't need. And we did that when we went to zero a few years ago. There's not a lot left. So what we need to do, instead of battling over the pennies now, we've got to increase the pie. We've got to bring more money into our economy. That's how we're going to decrease the budget. And that's what I plan. So not only will it decrease the taxes, but it's going to provide more opportunity and jobs for residents, and it brings more money into our city. We have more economic activity, and so that lightens the load for everyone.
So, do you see that AI is going to take away many jobs over the next few years? And how are we going to tackle that? Has anybody thought about this?
Yes, absolutely. In fact, we're seeing that happens in some industries already. The good news is that for a city, a lot of that AI from the city perspective is pretty tough to implement because AI can't cut the grass yet. But for private businesses, they might be moving to AI in ways that cut out people who do writing for a living or graphic design, things like that. But I think what's happening is that people can really tell now. They're starting to really be able to identify what's AI, and they kind of reject it. People really want that human touch. So I think that we're going to have a big debate over it. And I think the job economy is going to change. But luckily, I don't think it's going to happen as fast as we feared. Just like the Industrial Revolution, when jobs changed, this is the AI revolution. And we're going to find ways to accommodate for that and change what we need out of employment. And, most of the employment that we do requires human beings. So we've got a little bit of time, but it is on my radar for sure. That's a great question.
People have been talking about AI replacing so many jobs and people being out of work. What do you think people should be doing? Would there be something like a universal income plan for everybody?
Well, that's something that they're looking at on the federal level is that universal basic income, right? Where everyone would get a living sort of amount sort of allocated to them. It's not a big amount, but we've got all of these social services right now that pay out in different ways. And so
Mhm.
we've got tons and tons of bureaucracies. And I think the idea is to reduce all those bureaucracies so that you save a whole bunch of money and all those social services that exist turn into one thing so that this person doesn't have to apply for this person doesn't have to apply for that, and it's inefficient to bring it together. I hear that that's what they're talking about on a federal level. And if that comes into play, then that social safety net will exist. People don't have to worry about if there's going to be food on the table. And when you take that stress away, people tend to get far more industrious and they dream about things. Yeah, you might get a few people who just like, they're never going to strive in life one way or the other, or they'll be stuck in a situation where they can't actually work. But most people are going to work their way out of that need for that social service, for that
Mhm.
UBI. And so they probably won't get it anymore once they reach a certain threshold. But if they hit hard times, it's good to know it's always going to be there.
Wow. Thank you so much for answering that question. That was not directly to you in terms of, like the
Yeah, it's
work
not a
you're
silly
doing.
thing, but we talk about these things across government, right? Yeah.
Yeah. So I really want to thank you again for your time, Aaron. Is there something you want to tell our audience before we close our interview?
Yeah, this is a really important election. We've got political parties, we've got a lot of candidates out there, and I'm hearing a lot of folks saying, I'm going to freeze taxes or I'm going to do this or that, and that all sounds good. But the big question we should be asking them is how. What's your plan? And if their answer is vague, like, oh, it's pet projects that we're going to cut, well, which ones? And how much money does that actually save? Will it make an impact on the budget? These are things that maybe people who haven't been in government or a city councilor or a mayor, they may not have the answer to that. Or ones who have been, they should have the answer too, because otherwise they might just be telling you what you want to hear instead of what you need to hear to make an informed decision. So I will always let people know the why, and I will give them the details and the how, because that's so important. If we just decide based on hopes and dreams, it's kind of like fairy dust. What we really need is practical, real solutions that we can test and verify for ourselves and know it's true.
Thank you so much for the work that you've been doing over the last two terms. And we look forward to seeing you come up as the next candidate for our council.
Well, yeah, no, and thank you for hosting this forum and for everything that you do. I don't think you're appreciated enough. So thank you so much. I know it's so much work. I can't imagine you get all of these people you have to organize for what, 13 different debates? It's amazing. But the
Yeah.
last thing I'll say is that, we've been through some tough times. We really have. But I think the best days are ahead of us. I don't know if anyone else feels it, but from where I am, I can see that we're turning the corner. And it's just going to get better from here on out. And what the future holds for Edmonton is actually extremely exciting. And I look forward to talking to you in the future to show you
Wow.
what that looks like, because I think people are going to be very happily surprised.
Thank you so much. And I think we will close it at this point.
Yeah.
But if we had more candidates, we would have had a longer discussion. But you gave
Yeah.
us everything you're planning to do. And I think the audience has it all. Thank you so much, Aaron. And we
Well,
look
the most
forward to seeing
important
you
thing,
again.
yeah,
Thank
just
you.
show up. That's all, right?
Yeah.
Take care.
Bye.